morning. Welcome to Wellesley Village Church for this service of remembrance and memorial for Irina Kamergorodsky. Welcome to the family, to Alex, to all of you who have gathered, friends, colleagues, all of you who are gathered here to remember. This is a place today. It is our hope that can hold our pain and our joy, our sadness, our grief, whatever it is that we carry with us. Wherever you are in your journey, you are welcome here. Getting to know someone through a funeral is a strange, peculiar honor, seeing the ways they've shaped those left behind and the great emptinesses that they've left. I'm honored to bear witness to your love, to Irina's memory, to the ways it persists in pain, in memories, in lessons taught and learned, in all the ways that it manifests. For sharing this small part of Irina with those of us gathered here today, thank you. No funeral, no ritual, no words, no song can do justice to a human life. Certainly not one so obviously filled with love, determination, and joy. But it is my hope today that together with those who are speaking, those who are gathered through word and song and poetry and music, we might find some comfort, some hope, some peace, knowing that we do not bear these things alone, but with one another and with God. That is the task of Christian funerals, not to erase, but to bear witness to the pain, the sadness, the anger, the loss, while giving thanks for the days we shared with the beloved one and declaring our hope in her continued life in God and her Spirit among us. Would you pray with me? God of all our days, we are gathered here, encountering the boundary between life and death, grief and gratitude, celebration and sorrow. May your good Spirit meet us in this place as we remember Irina Kamergorodsky, seeking to express something of the joy she shared with us, the sadness we carry at her passing, and the love that binds us all together in you. Open our hearts this day to the ways that you are present among us even now, to the joy of cherished memories of days past, and to the hope for days that lie ahead. Comfort us, strengthen us, and deepen our connection to Irina and to one another even as we bid farewell. In your name, amen.
Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I fear no evil. For you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely God, goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord my whole life long. And now, as you are able, please rise in body or spirit and join in singing hymn number 366, God of Our Life, which can be found in the black hymnal in your pews.
Mary Oliver was a contemporary American poet whose work came from a lifelong passion of nature, its richness, and the spirituality that came through it. She spent much of her later life on Cape Cod walking the long, solitary walks that nourished her. When death comes like the hungry bear in autumn, when death comes and takes all the bright coins from her purse to buy me and snaps the purse shut, when death comes like the measles pox, when death comes like an iceberg between the shoulder blades, I want to step through the door full of curiosity, wondering, what is it going to be like, that cottage of darkness? And therefore, I look upon everything as a brotherhood and a sisterhood. And I look upon time as no more than an idea, and I consider eternity as another possibility. And I think of each life as a flower, as common as a field daisy, and as singular. And each name a comfortable music in this mouth, tending as all music does, toward silence. And each body a lion of courage and something precious to the earth. When it's over, I want to say, all my life, I was a bride married to amazement. I was the bridegroom taking the world into my arms. When it's over, I don't want to wonder if I have made of my life something particular and real. I don't want to find myself sighing and frightened or full of argument. I don't want to end up simply having visited this world.
Good morning. Good morning. And thank you very, very much for coming here today. It's not easy for me to talk, so I will not say too much. Just a few words about our life here. When we came to this country, our friends became our family, met us, supported us, helped us, navigated us through the new life. And despite certain hardships, it's been a very, very happy life of our family in this country. And our friends also heard one thing from me more than once. It's the word tradition. Because, as you know, who are we without tradition? Without tradition, we're, well, shaky as a fiddler on the roof. And we followed some traditions from our previous life. Some of them funny, not very serious. Many people know that we would never leave an empty wine bottle on the table, or we would not clink glasses when we toast for the memory of somebody who passed away. We wouldn't shake hands across the doorway, it's a bad luck. Well, we wouldn't whistle in the house as there will be no money, and so on and so forth. In this country, we found another tradition which we loved very much. I could never imagine it would happen to me and Irina, but it happened. And unlike the people of the country we came from, well, these days hard no matter what. But there it's very, very hard. People are crying, sometimes are yelling. Emotions burst out and it's not easy. In this country, it's different. This is the day of celebration. That's the moment when people come to celebrate the life. Irina's life was full of bright happiness. Our family was very happy now. And she enjoyed very many things. The family itself, our children, grandchildren, traveling, you name it. She loved her work. She was very much loved and respected by her friends and colleagues, her students, parents, everybody around. We've been to this place more than once, and I couldn't even think of a better place to come together and pay tributes to her. And as I said, I appreciate your coming here today. So, despite the sadness and the hard moment of this reality, let's celebrate her wonderful, beautiful life. Thank you.
How is it possible that we are even here today, celebrating Irina's life, when just a few months ago, she was the picture of health, walking 5 miles a day, swimming, and involved in so many activities of her enjoyable life. Life certainly takes us down unexpected roads with surprising twists and turns. Irina's road came to an abrupt end way too soon. Some of life's roads, however, can lead us to wonderful experiences. Such was the case for me when I first met Irina. It was 1993. I was in Nikolaev, Ukraine. I was on a goodwill exchange with several other people between Ukraine and Massachusetts. It was during this visit that I met Irina and her family. I also had the privilege at that time of observing her teaching in her elementary classroom. She was a teacher of English. At that time, I witnessed how much she loved teaching. But more important than that, I saw the relationship that she developed with each of the children in her class, and how through her kindness and caring, she brought the best out in each of her students. To her, the relationship was just as important as imparting the knowledge. Little did I expect when I left Nikolaev that I would ever see Irina again. Unexpectedly, life's road brought a wonderful surprise when I received a call from Alex one morning in 1999 saying that Irina had won the green card through a lottery system. She, Alex, and Sasha would be coming to the United States. To my great delight, they decided to take my advice and come to Boston. They arrived on the weekend of Memorial Day in 1999. That began a wonderful and warm relationship for all these years, in which our two families have really become one. When I was a child, I would beg my mother for a little sister. She never accommodated me. It took many years, but eventually I found my little sister in Irina. We shared so many intimate conversations about our families and our hopes and dreams for them. We were always at every important function in each other's life. She and Irina even came to the nursing home to visit my mother during her declining years. Their visits brightened her day and comforted me in knowing how much she enjoyed their lively visits. Irina would often tell me how much she learned from me, but it was I who learned from her. I admired the way Irina was always fully present wherever she was. She would remember the details of conversations and events. She was engaged in every aspect of all of her experiences. It was the little things in life that brought Irina the most satisfaction, especially her Thursday outings with her husband, Alex. She would exuberate as much enthusiasm about the moments she and Alex spent on their back deck, sipping coffee in the morning together or watching a sunset, as she would about her adventurous travels to Italy, France, and Monaco. She tried her best to capture all these times through the many photographs she would take, later sharing them on Facebook with her beloved community of friends. While she valued objects of beauty, she was the least materialistic person I know. Her enjoyments in life came from reading good literature, attending a wonderful concert or ballet, all of the performing and cultural arts, and of course being in nature. But at her core, her life was about relationships. She valued her relationships. She cared deeply about all of us and walked our life's journey along with us, sharing our joys and sorrows. Her most valued relationships were with her husband, her sons, Peter and Sasha, her daughter-in-law, Nicole, and her two granddaughters, Ainsley and Nika. It gave her deep satisfaction to see the loving family Nicole and Sasha created, and she cherished the times that she spent with them. Irina's life was blessed in so many ways. She had a rich childhood with parents who promoted her talents. She was especially close to her father. She attended a prestigious college which enriched her life in many ways by the friends she made and all the experiences she had. It was in college that she met the love of her life, Alex, whom she married and continued her life journey together with him for another 45 years. She was a lifelong learner, an excellent student, an accomplished teacher and pianist. She was a loving mother and delighted grandmother. Until the end of her life, she was healthy and energetic. Her greatest sadness, of course, was in the loss of her son, Peter. While he was no longer with her physically, his presence was always felt. He was never very far from her thoughts or her heart. I remember the care with which she chose his tombstone and how tenderly and lovingly she cared for his gravesite. And now it is with great sadness that we must say goodbye to Irina. She will be laid to rest alongside her son. Just as Peter remained alive in Irina's heart and memory, so will she live on in our hearts as the caring, kind, and loving person who touched the heart of so many people. Irina, we will miss you. May you rest in peace.
When we see Irina's photos, she's smiling in every one of them. And when I think back about my memories of her, I can't remember a single time when I didn't see her smiling, even when I knew she was in pain. She was just smiling, and that smile perhaps said more about her. I think one of the other things that we know is that in all of the years that I knew her, There was never a time that she said anything bad, anything derogatory, anything but good about people around her. Maybe that's why she had so many friends. When asked about what she is, she would always say that first and foremost, she's a teacher. And she had a gift of connecting with her students. She had taught hundreds of them every year, and she remembered every one of them, not only by name, but she remembered everything that little child needed. We found handwritten notes left on her desk and in her drawers with notes about every child, assignments for every child. It's impossible to think that she will not walk those halls again, that she will not be in that classroom, which was hers. It's known as Irina's classroom, and it's hard to think about not ever seeing her again there. But she also had a gift of separating, living in the moment. When she was a teacher, and she gave every little bit of her to teaching her kids. When she was with her colleagues, she was interested in them. She was smiling at them with all her heart. She was with them. But then she had a life of her family, a life of her that she had when she left the school. And even though I'm sure she always was part of the school in her thoughts, she always was able to give herself fully to her family. She loved travel, she loved her children, she loved her grandchildren. She was never seen without Sasha in any of the events. Oh, I don't think I ever saw her truly without Sasha in any picture, unless Sasha was the one taking her picture. She loved travel. We loved looking at the pictures of Boston that she visited in any weather with her husband. She loved, I knew she cherished the 2 days she didn't teach and the holidays when she could go and visit her family. She lived in full. She loved the world, and the world loved her, and we loved her, and we'll miss her a lot. Rest in peace.
We saw a wolf 2 nights ago, driving from Needham home. My dad, Nicole, and I, driving through Dover, pitch black, had to slam on my brakes. And this wolf came out. And I've driven in the past 2 decades down that road, down Center Street, maybe 1,000 times, maybe 2,000 times, and I've never, ever seen a wolf. And Nicole immediately looked for symbolism, and it turns out that a wolf symbolizes strength, unity, through family and friends. And I want to thank everybody that's here and who's also watching, that's with us. You have given us strength in a time where strength is hard to find. You have surrounded us in a cocoon of warmth and love to take us through this really tough journey. It's really rare these days to find a person who has truly found their calling in life, who pursues their passion relentlessly. And we can all unequivocally agree that my mom's calling was to be a teacher. She just taught me so many
lessons in life that some of which I'm going to share. Every good mother tells her son, work hard, find a good woman, marry her, have kids, love them dearly, give them everything you have to unlock their true potential and support their true potential in life. And every good mother continues to repeat that over and over again until it actually happens. And she's taught me so much. She really walked the walk. We lived a very beautiful, very comfortable life in Ukraine, albeit simple, but my mom was an established teacher. But she wanted more for her kids, for the bright future of her kids. So she decided to come to the US. And when she set a goal, she stated it to the world and she pursued it until it actually happened. So she decided to win a green card in a lottery. And so here we are, we come to the States with 6,000 to our name. And as a little kid, you don't really realize, how all that works. And you look back here now and you realize that that's like 2 weeks of run rate for a family of 4 these days. And how did my mom ensure that we had a roof over our heads and food on our table? She worked 2 jobs. She got an assistant job, public schools, and she worked in the new public library. And she relentlessly pursued her dream of being a teacher here, a life that she has given up and had to start all over again for a better life for us. She went and got her master's in Framingham State, and she would also at the time started working at the Russian School of Math a little bit. So she had 3 jobs and was going to school and would come home and she would cook a beautiful meal with such a warm smile on her face, and she would find the strength after all that to come home and surround us with love. She really made that home a home. When I started dating Nicole, and the time came for me to move to San Diego, she said, "I know she's the woman of your dreams. Go get her. Marry her and give us children." And she was right. She was the woman of my dreams. But she said that even though I know how hard it must have been for her to let her little boy go and move away 6,000 miles away knowing how far I'll be. But that's what a good mother does. She supports her son in his journey. And when grandkids came, that completed her world. She loved them so much. The way she embraced them and held them, and the way she would build in little teachings of Russian and math subtly in every little thing she did with them. And even when she was in massive pain and she didn't even know why, but she came to San Diego and that pain was gone whenever she saw them, and she would embrace them and hold both of them in her arms and love them so much. The way she loved my dad, the way she was an amazing woman and life partner, journeyer through life, has been truly inspirational, and I have modeled and I've tried to bring the values that she set in our home into our home, and to be a partner the way she has been for my dad. But it's really funny how as a little kid, you don't really want to pay attention to or listen to the life's lessons or the teachings that your parents have. But later in life, it's interesting how sometimes they surface and have a very, very deep, profound effect on you. When I was a little kid, she got me piano lessons. And mainly because she loved piano and she thought it would, probably make me more well-rounded. And I would be a good boy and I would come to lessons and I would do the homework, but I didn't really have much interest in it. In fact, my heart lay with blowing up firecrackers in the backyard with my little pyro friends. And only later in life, it came together very interestingly, an intersection of mathematics and music. Few people realize that music, like many things in the world, like many things in nature, have underlying mathematical, precise beauty and structure to it. In fact, you can take a chord and you can make it a happy chord or you can make it a sad chord by a simple addition or subtraction. And when you put together a bunch of notes and you actually follow an underlying mathematical formula, you can make a beautiful melody that seems to match. And it was really when that realization came to me at the intersection of music and mathematics. It's when I really had a passion, developed a passion for playing. And there's only one person in this world that I can attribute this to, and it's my mom. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play a little piece from the heart for my mom. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to think of a person that you love dearly, very dearly, that is no longer here. To some of you, it's going to be my mom. To some of you, other people will surface. But I want you to bring them all in the forefront of your mind as you listen.
Please join with me in prayer. Great God of all mystery, if in the presence of death our thoughts are startled and our words flutter about like frightened birds, bring us stillness, that we may cover the sorrow of our hearts with folded hands. Give us grace to wait on you silently and with patience. You are nearer to us than we know, closer than we can imagine. If we cannot find you, it is because we search in far places before we felt the pain you suffered it. Before the burden came upon us, your strength lifted it. Before the sorrow darkened our hearts, you were grieved. As you walk in the valley of every shadow, be our good shepherd, and sustain us while we walk with you, lest we falter. Though the pain deepens, keep us in your way and guide us past every danger. Hear this prayer that we lift to you this day, O God, for our beloved sister, Irina Kamergorodsky. In her life, she dedicated herself to loving and serving others as a daughter, a friend, a wife, a mother, a teacher, and in ways that we can scarcely begin to count. Irina lives a great and lasting impact, and with it, great and many empty places. Receive Irina into your loving care. Walk with us while we continue to grieve. God, we cry out to you, knowing that you hear us, trusting that you are here even in this place of sadness. We know that you hear the prayers and the questions that we carry in the silence of our hearts. And we know that at times words fail us, knowing that we have need to pray in such times as this. You taught us this prayer so that we might always have words to speak. Please join with me. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, now and forever. Amen. And now, as you are able, please rise in body and spirit and join in singing hymn number 247, My Shepherd is the Living God.
ask that the pallbearers please assemble at the front of the church. I want to remind you that following the service, we will process out of the church, and you can get your cars and line up, and we will follow the hearse over to Needham Cemetery. Directions to that location can be found in your bulletin, and if you want to join in that procession, please get your car, and you can line up behind the hearse in the church driveway here. Also, following the graveside service, so at 12:45, the family will be hosting a reception at Capella's Restaurant in Needham. Would you be with me in prayer? Beloved God, God of all our days, bless us as we go from this place, having remembered Irina well, carrying with us the pain of our loss, the joy of our memories, and our hopes of her continued presence in our lives in the many mysterious ways that she continues to fill the spaces in our hearts. And now, beloved people, go from this place, taking with you the love of God, your Creator, the peace of God who dwells with you, the joy, fellowship, and the comfort of the Holy Spirit who binds us together, one God, forever and ever. Amen. You're invited.